here. Now, ending it off with the performance. I mean, I'll go ahead and tell you the specs first. This thing has that Apple A8 chip inside of it with 2 gigabytes of RAM. Now, the 2 gigs of RAM are really the main reason why I think this thing even got more soft drive updates than it should have. So that area, I'm glad it got that. But on the flip side, you really don't need a crazy amount of RAM on an iPad mini of that, even especially this thing. You don't need that much RAM in order to get a pretty decent experience from it. Now, I think the Apple A8 chip was kind of a slow chip in and of itself. So when you compare an A8 chip with something like an A10 chip, in my opinion, I think the A10 Fusion, especially the A11 chip, those devices were really, really good. And I think with the A8, that's really not a crazy big, performance jump from the A7. So keep that in mind. But this is what I'll tell you. If you're somebody who is a student, and I always bring the students in because I feel like they're the ones who use the iPads the most, you're probably going to be getting an okay experience. And the way I say that, and I say that a lot, is because if you're doing, if you're reading textbooks from your iPad, if you're highlighting stuff, if you're taking notes on an iPad or whatever, I think you might get an okay experience, meaning that as long as you're not doing anything crazy, like, multitasking between a bunch of different apps and all that stuff, then I think you're going to have a good experience for the most part. It's going to be glitchy, it's not going to be extremely fast, and there's going to be some lag here and there, but I think for the most part it's probably going to be an okay experience. Now, on the flip side, if you're trying to go up and do something else, if you're trying to go and create some sort of crazy tools with your iPad and you're trying to play some huge intensive games and stuff, you may not be getting the best experience from your specific iPad, and you may be better off getting something like an iPad Air 3 or the iPad Pro 10.5 inch or even an iPad Pro 3. I mean, if you can spend a little bit more money, those devices are going to be getting you a much better experience with much better software longevity rather than the iPad Mini 4. I think the Mini 4 is great for media consumption, so if you just want to watch a bunch of YouTube videos or Netflix and stuff, then I think the iPad Mini 4 is the device for you. But if you're trying to actually use it as an iPad and use all the features of the iPad, including, take a bunch of videos and play a bunch of games and do all this other crazy stuff and multitask between a lot of apps, you may not be getting the most amount of experience from this device. So I think that's kind of how I would sum it up. It's definitely not a crazy bad iPad, but I think it's definitely not the best, and I don't even think it's the best for the money. So in terms of performance, that pretty much covers it up.